Hello and welcome everyone to our Operation Flashpoint 25th anniversary live stream. Thank you for all joining us as we celebrate 25 years since Operation Flashpoint first introduced so many players to a new kind of military sandbox experience, which helped lay the foundation for the Arma series we know today. My name is Niles George, though many of you know me as Nillers. I'm the Senior Arma Community Manager, and I will be your host for today's celebration. Very soon, you'll be joined by some familiar faces as we look back on the history of Bohemia Interactive and the legacy that this game has brought to so many of you and you remember so fondly. We'll also be holding a live community Q&A later on, so feel free to send your questions for our guests to chat, and we'll collect them for later. Of course, we'd love to hear any stories you have as well, so please share anything you remember about those times and those memories in chat as well, because we really look forward to reading them later. Now, grab your gear and fall in, because we're heading back to where it all began. Welcome back, everyone, and I'm very happy to introduce our special guest for today's stream. Each of them played a very important role in the history and story of Operation Flashpoint, as well as Bohemia Interactive as a whole. And we're excited to hear some of the memories directly from them. First, I'd like to welcome Jan Hovera, one of the, as all these, original members of the Bohemia Interactive team, the former lead artist and now CEO of Content AR. And now next to him, we have also Andres Spaniel, the former lead programmer of Operation Flashpoint, now an independent game developer. Welcome, welcome. But more importantly, also next to you, you have your brother, which is a very familiar face to most people, Marek Spaniel, the now current CEO of Bohemia and former lead or project lead, would you say? But welcome, everybody. I guess before we get into the game itself and the history of that, can you talk a little bit, how did this all get started? I know you two, Andra and Marek, that you guys both did video game development well before Bohemia even, right?
It depends on how far into the past do you want to go, because we could start when we were young boys. I was maybe 13, Marek 2 years younger, which is still. And our elder brother brought us a first computer at home, which was Texas Instruments 99-4 or something like that. Nobody knew that, but it was a computer. And we immediately started to create games for it because we wanted to play them, and there were no games at all. So if we wanted to play something, we had to create it. So that's the start of the history, and the rest is just a smooth ride, I would say.
Yeah. So let me say the first two games we tried to make. So one of them was a strip poker. So we tried to digitize by bit a naked lady, a beautiful lady. But at the end, this got never finished. But what we finished was a tiny game with a ghost in a castle and eggs falling from top, so you could catch the eggs. So that was probably a mind-blowing achievement, but we were limited by the basic. So I only could dream about a faster and sprites. So some of my dreams in that period was a sequence that computer kind of could crash into a frozen state with sprites freely floating smooth. So that was only a dream back then. So yeah, as Andrei said, since then we probably just kept going and kept going. So through Atari 800, Atari ST, Atari Falcon. So that's maybe where we crossed with Honza because of Atari. So Honza can speak a bit about Atari.
When did you come into the picture for all this?
I think I have a similar story. My grandfather was a famous scientist, and I always occupied his computer that he had for writing. So one time he was enough of this and bought me Atari ST. And I code on this and met Ondřej with Marek at some Atari club, I think, or something like that. Because I think first time I remember I saw Ondřej we was on the travel to Atari Messe or something like this in some bus.
Some bus.
Yeah.
That was actually a pretty big event because if you remember, we had one of the problems. One of them was that we tried to bring Atari Falcon game called Gravon, which was before Operation Flashpoint. So maybe we sold 40 copies directly on the Messe, but also the bus did not stop really for pee. So it was torture.
I remember that.
It was
whole
a torture.
Bus coming from doors at once.
And on the way back there was a Trabant parking crossing the bus, so the bus could not move. So the Atari fans from the bus actually grabbed the Trabant and moved it with aside, so the bus can go home back to Prague. So yeah, we were successful. We sold about 40 copies of Gravon. And I definitely recommend anybody to check Gravon because before Operation Flashpoint, which by the way, let me now make clear disclaimer. Operation Flashpoint is a trademark of Electronic Arts, and Electronic Arts bought Codemasters, and Codemasters was the publisher of the original Operation Flashpoint. So since then, our ways parted. Now our games are called Arma. So also this game that you used to know maybe and used to play when it was launched as Operation Flashpoint is now known as Arma Cold War Assault.
Yep.
So we since then do Arma. So Operation Flashpoint is no more anything for us. But yeah, we now remember the day when it was launched, so we use the original name because that's how the game was launched, and that's how we remember it fondly in our hearts.
But there was some names before Flashpoint. We was not able to find a name. Do you remember?
Yeah,
it?
we started with Poseidon. So Poseidon, we think, was super cool name, but there was apparently a movie with the same name. So something like Titanic. So we were not recommended to use it.
And there was Status Quo.
Yeah, Status Quo. Yeah. That was pretty cool. So we like the song "You're in the Army Now," but the Status Quo also did not last. So at the end, Operation Flashpoint was it. And then the name game with Codemasters, and it was a big clash over who's holding the legacy to the game. So we did, I think, for me, one of the best press releases we ever made, which was called literally the name game. And I was a small company, so of course was the best because I was writing it with our US lawyer.
They had the name and we had everything else.
Yeah, they had the name and we had the game. So our clash was, no, we hold the legacy to Operation Flashpoint, not themselves. Okay. And there was a big fight because they wanted to make a sequel and we wanted to make Arma as the sequel. So the clash was, what is the sequel? Is it the name or is it the game?
Yeah, well, I think we're a little biased. We know the real answer.
but I think it was quite good motivation to do good game.
Yeah, it was really a big motivation, especially when their first screenshots appeared, and we felt like, oh, that's doomed. Yeah. But at the end, it was renamed to target screenshots. So target screenshots were actually renders.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so take us. How did eventually, Bohemia as a whole inform? You obviously talked about how you guys met, but when did the idea of getting this group together to start?
It was a gradual progress as our lives moved on. So we finished schools and we started some jobs. Marek started selling games in boxes in Prague market. So he was a shop assistant back then, and I was in the army. And when I went from army, we decided that we'd like to try to start some serious development. And frankly, we met a guy who enabled us to do so. It was Slavomír Pavlíček, who is still keeping the company with Marek, and he had the trust and he had the money, and he enabled us to basically do what we wanted. So that was how I would say the company has started. I don't remember exactly who connected, but at first we were, I think, just two of us, or maybe just some additional programmer. Then probably sometime Honza joined. And
I think he was in the small house in Modřany. Yeah. And I was third guy. I was going with the data on zip disk to this house with models. And that at the time I was still at the university and trying to avoid go to military.
Yeah, so that was year 1997. So I was able to successfully wrap up my career in selling games and marketing of games. And I told Slavomír Pavlíček, the boss back then, now I'm his boss. So hello, Slavomír. So obviously I quit the sales from the store and the marketing and localization of the games to really follow professional games development. And thankfully, Slavomír was generous enough. So he degraded me, but only as much as was necessary for me to focus on the games. And we started professional game work on first Rio Grande 3D version of River Raid. So soon after we moved to what was known as Poseidon. So Poseidon was...
I think Poseidon is kind of available for download. If anyone wants to dig in gaming archaeology, I think Poseidon demo should be able to be found on internet. So it's a game which kind of it's an open landscape. There are tanks and helicopter, so it shows the direction. It's small, it's nothing compared to Flashpoint, but it shows that we started to move in the direction.
I'm not sure still the mod files is P3D.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's Poseidon 3D.
But if maybe someone shares link in the comments, because I think most of the links I looked for were already obsolete. So also there used to be a version of Rio Grande 3D freely available through our community wiki, but I think somehow got lost. So if anybody still has a possession of Rio Grande 3D, would be awesome if they share with us in the comments, because I don't have it and I would love to play it again.
Well, you heard it. There you go. You gotta get it out there. But I mean, it's crazy to think that, like, even back then you were talking a little bit about, like, you started in one little house there, but now there's in Bohemia Interactive, there's over 500 employees, which is crazy to think compared to what it might have looked like back then. What was it like? Was it in a little small room of how did things get started there? Was it a garage setup?
I think two rooms, and when I forgot cup with coffee there, after 2 weeks still was there.
Yeah.
Well, like, it was pretty, it was mostly like bedroom development. So we lived together with Andre.
Not a garage, it was.
Not a garage, it was like a bedroom. So, but then who we owe, I think, gratitude is Intel. Because Intel, hello, Krzysztof Janicki from Intel. So they were generous to believe in us in 1998. And they gave us very powerful Pentium computers. So something we could not afford without them. So that was a really big boost, because the computer was worth more than our yearly salary back then. And then we signed with Interactive Magic. And because a visit from America was supposed to come to us, we said, let's pretend we have offices. So we moved to Košice offices and pretended we have proper offices. But after working from the offices, we kind of enjoyed it more. So I think we never came back.
So we had proper offices.
We had proper offices, but originally it was supposed to be the Potemkin's village.
And how many people did you stuff into this office?
4 or 5. Just the real team. We only did not want to invite them to our basically living room and bedrooms. It felt a bit awkward if they shoveled some money.
Taking shifts, switching, sleeping on the bed. Yeah, okay. That's awesome. And I guess, what was that atmosphere like with the four of you, or the team in that little environment? Like, what was the day-to-day like? Was it pretty relaxed, or?
I think we were basically working. We mostly shared the vision. I think it was that 3 of us made decisions about the game. So that was and sometimes we fight it, but we never took it personal, I think. So the fight was for the good of the product. So sometimes it was heated, of course, but it was fine.
I remember discussion on both sides of the sun.
Like there were some people I would not like to name that did not understand the basics of astronomy. So some people that even till today, I find people in games development that believe the sun and moon are getting bigger as they approach the horizon. So we argued a lot about this because we wanted the game to be accurate.
Yeah. And actually, speaking of the studio and the game a little bit, I actually want to take us back to... there's a few things we found while doing a little research into this, and there's a couple photos we need you to help explain. If we can pull up the first photo for this, can we just explain quickly what is going on here, man?
This is our first optical motion capture. It's Vicon. I think maybe Andres.
No, that's me.
Yeah.
I remember, but this is the first Vicon 8 that we traveled to UK with Marek.
We traveled to Oxford.
And we was their first customer in the East and Middle Europe, I think, if you remember.
So, and because we arrived, me and Honza, I said, let's try what it does. So I was in the gear. So the handsome young man, that's actually me. I know you would not believe, but that's me.
I mean, when we were talking about it, a few confused the two of you, so.
And by the way, I think the first game that we used this technology because we need to learn it, because there was no one in the Central Europe who wasn't in that time know how to work with the optical motion capture. So we tried on the Father Frost. It was the first game that we used the motion capture was the Father Frost.
Like not many people know that first released game from Bohemia Interactive is not Operation Flashpoint, but Fairy Tale about Father Frost, Ivan and Nastya. Mm-hmm. So there we used the motion capture on the girl that performed Nastya.
Yeah. I think the next photo actually is you in action a little bit. We can still going on.
So now even more handsome hero. Beautiful.
Maybe this is the photos from UK.
This is from the UK. Yes, this is from Oxford, from Wycon.
Gotcha. We have a couple more here. Let's try this next one if we can, which is going to be maybe Andra, but let's just show it up here. Do you want to explain what's going on here?
That's our trip to America. I think it's Grand Canyon, and back then we wanted to create a Western game. So it was after first Flashpoint. There was some time where we were trying various ideas, and one of them was Western game. So we had a kind of company research trip into California and Arizona and Nevada. So we visited some ghost towns. So that's from the research trip for the Western game.
And there's a rumor that during this trip, Marek, you might have lost your passport. And had a little trouble getting back.
I'm afraid someone stole it from me in the fast food. But anyway, on the way back home, I get no passport, no money, no credit card. So luckily, Honza. Now I know it's not legal, but I borrowed his credit card because I had no money, I had nothing, and they had to leave, so they left, and I stayed behind in
Got a little
Los
bit more
Angeles.
research in there.
Yeah, I did research on the streets of Los Angeles without money. So I was super lucky that the Czech consulate, the lady knew our father, and she remembered me as a kid, and she said, "Oh, I can verify you easy," because she knew my background, and I told who I am, and she actually knew our father.
Okay, but I remember from this trip, it's quite funny because we was in the Yosemite Valley, and we discussed there with Ondřej how much he thinks there is trees in the valley. If we will ever be able to draw it. That's the fun thing is that after maybe 10, 15 years, it's no problem to do it today. But in that time, it was absolutely impossible to think about possibility that there will be millions of objects in the scene, and now.
Yeah, so do you remember how forests were made in Flashpoint?
Yeah.
It were boxes with textures, basically. So the forests are not from individual trees. Only the boundaries to make them look a bit more natural, we did from individual trees. But the forest itself is from big boxes, and the boxes imitate the trees. So it's like one model is the big box.
Yeah, and Andra, you're not the only one who gets go sit in nature. In our next photo here, Marek, you have some explaining to do. Is this your old office or?
Yeah, this is another research trip. This was for not only taking references for textures, but also figuring out how to climb through the wilderness, because many gamers prefer the game to be super fast. So we actually climbed over that hill, and it was super slow. So it was not 20 kilometers per hour, not even 5 kilometers per hour. It was maybe 1 kilometer per 5 hours at the end.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like you have your whole computer set up there.
Yeah, it was a big notebook. So back then, the digital cameras were pretty crap and only could hold as many textures as it could hold, which was maybe 20. So we had to download it to the notebook. So everything was a bit rough and more basic, because now people live in digital world for good or bad, but we used to live in analog world. So digital camera was a big novelty when we were making
it was very bad.
Flashpoint.
We didn't make textures on digital cameras. We bought magazines and scanned it at the beginning.
Yeah, mostly we scanned pictures or found other techniques. So digital photos were not really good back then.
Yeah. And I think we have a couple more here. Let's go to the next one for. Yes, so this might be a flashback here for Andra.
The one in the sweater, that's me.
That's you with Nadia.
Nadia.
Yes. And so Ondřej was, I think, mostly who was behind our relocating out of Prague to Mníšek. He wanted to go to countryside, I believe. So we moved to a beautiful, iconic building in Mníšek.
Yeah, still have it to this day. It's still there. That a lot of people call as HQ. And then I think we have one more after this if we want to show that. Yes. When we were looking through some of the photos from the office,
That's probably
this was just
Albunda.
labeled as server.
I think this is Albunda, the most important server in the world. So this server was named Albunda and was running SourceSafe, I believe, back then, or probably SourceSafe.
It was running some kind of Linux with network shares, because SourceSafe was just running over network sharing. So it was the most important server in the world, hiding somewhere in the corner. Nobody knew where it is.
Yeah, but it survived, I believe, throughout the development. So this was the server we used to throughout the development of Operation Flashpoint.
Gotcha. And just to go back a little bit, why did you ultimately decide to move to Mishek in the grand scheme of things? Why there and not somewhere else?
Well, we want or most of all I think, but I think it was our shared vision. We didn't want to stay in Prague because Prague was busy and noisy, and I was extremely tired in Prague. So we wanted to move out of Prague, but not very far, so that if people wanted to stay in Prague, they could commute to that place. So some of us actually relocated near the Stříbrná Lhota. Marek and me relocated quite nearby, and we were in kind of strange of position, because nowadays many people commute to Prague to work. But in our offices, the direction was exactly opposite. So people went from Prague commuting to our office in the countryside.
At least they avoided the traffic jams, because they were usually in the other direction than the rest of the people.
Yeah, but I think it was really great times, because you open door from your office and you can go to pond and willow. And I was measure color of the light during the day, because we need to have table for realistic colors in the game. So I really measure every hour if it's clear sky or not. It was absolutely great.
Yeah, so we relocated, we grew up the company. I'm sure for some of our colleagues this was a bit nightmare, having to go to Mishek, so the commuting was a bit overreach, and we wanted to bring Operation Flashpoint for the Xbox One, the real one.
Yeah,
the one
the original.
that was actually one.
Yeah.
So we thought it's a small business, small endeavor, and we badly underestimated growing the company, to be honest. So 4 more years later, there was not only not yet the Operation Flashpoint for the first Xbox, not talking about the sequels, not talking about much anything, to be honest. So Codemasters lost patience with us, and somehow it was clear the future is not super bright. So we at the end got this idea, let's at least finish the Xbox game. So we finished and launched, but was a disaster, and we launched in November, I believe 2005, when Xbox 360 was out. So this was not much of interest and sold pretty badly, and we had to do something. So we took it and tried to rescue the company, and we made Arma Armed Assault, and it was pretty much based on the Xbox Flashpoint technology. So this technology became VBS and Arma, and we parted with Codemasters. So this was quite lucky, because actually the Xbox, it was very interesting work, but it was really difficult. The Xbox compared to PCs back then had very little power. Both the CPU and the GPU were very weak, and we had to squeeze the game in, but this really helped the technology we had. So once we finished and released the game, we had technology which was much better than what we had before, and much suitable for father. I think it had 64 megabyte of RAM.
Yeah.
So 64 megabyte of the entire RAM. So one of the big features which I felt really proud back then was streaming. So streaming of textures. So it really powered Bohemia games for another decade, in fact, including the VBS, the training program, because the streaming of assets was pretty novel technology.
They had very little memory, and they had very strict, it was called TCRs, technical requirements, about the frame rate. So you could not drop a single frame. So they were really strict about this. So we had to implement the streaming so that everything is perfectly smooth all the time. So this was very difficult. It took us several years, but the technology was there eventually, and part of it is perhaps
eventually what became.
Yeah, I think streaming is one of the rare things that survived the test of time. So even the library was so well done that it's probably mostly in use till today. So yeah, was a very challenging times, because when we launched Arma, Armed Assault, it was not easy at all. So making Arma 2 was another challenge, but I already mentioned we were head to head with Codemasters with their Operation Flashpoint 2, and there was our Arma 2. So it was pretty fun, because we already were making sequel to Arma while competing with their sequel to. So the numbering was a bit confusing.
And take us a little bit back again. We have one more photo, but everyone always knows about the T-72 of Vegeta, but we found one image that we were very curious about as well. Where and what is this?
That's T-55, and I guess the one with the beret is Marek, I think.
Yes, that's
and
me.
There's one kind of fun fact. Marek was holding a gun permit which had written on it tank T-55. So
look the same as permit for a normal pistol, but instead of like CZ75, there was T-55 tankers. And when we arrived, this is Invex, used to be big exhibition in Brno for computers and partly even games. So when I drove in front of the convoy in my silver Hyundai car, the gatekeeper was really shocked and said, no, the military exhibition is in May. You came to a wrong one. It's now different months. And I said, no, it's okay. We go to the Invex. We go to show a computer game, and it's all arranged. Don't worry, it's just a tank.
Is this where the desire to have the T-72 came from? Or
no, this was one of the many crises of Bohemia Interactive. So Cold War crisis was our motto. So we were masters of crisis. So this crisis was because Interactive Magic was sold to Ubisoft, and Ubisoft at the end, after a long time speaking with us on their line between I believe London in the UK to Montreal in Canada, back to Paris in France. So that was their corporate structure. And after about a year, they said, no, we don't want you. And they were acquiring Red Storm, Ghost Recon. So they were head-to-head again with us with Red Storm Entertainment and Ghost Recon, and they did not want us. So we were without a publisher, and this was a really desperate move. So we just did not know what to do. We were running out of money and time and even fate, and no publisher wanted to sign with us. So we were rejected by all of the big publishers.
And we can understand them, because we were actually signed to a publisher who had almost all rights to the game. They had pre-buy and post-buy rights for everything. So if anyone would make a deal, Interactive Magic could come in and just take the deal. So I remember something like that. So it was from this legal point of view, it was a nightmare, because we were signed to a publisher who was not interested in publishing the game. So that was.
I will correct you.
That's my memory.
This was actually later with Codemasters with Arma. So here with Interactive Magic, the story was they sold their business and all the rights to the game to Ubisoft. And with Ubisoft, we had to buy back the rights, which luckily Slavomir was so enlightened to really throw the money out of his pocket, and it was pretty sizable money. So he bought back our rights. So we did not have really rights problem back then. Just the companies were very skeptical about us and about the whole scale of the game, and like, how can you really make it real? So and also one of them, which is one of the biggest companies in the world, they rejected us, saying Halo will be launching later this year, and you stand no chance against Halo. on the PC. So that will destroy the market, and your poor game will not compete. So we said, okay, that's fine. And they also said the silly quotes when you die, there are some silly quotes. Why anyone would put silly quotes to the death screen? Such a crazy move in the game.
Yeah. I guess one of the few last questions I have for this section is this: when did the idea of Operation Flashpoint, what became Arma Cold War, so really feel real? Like when did it? You talked about like you were going through some crisis, they're getting things out. When did it feel like it really exploded out for you? When did you?
I remember one moment which was already when Codemasters were publishers, and while they were our publisher, I think our working relationships were really good and working. They were of course pushing some pressure that's necessary, but they were really helpful, and even they had some influential voice in the design of the game. And I remember one moment, because before we had something which was called which was something like tactical radar. You can see it in the Arma still in vehicles, but we had this radar even when you were playing a soldier. And the guy from Codemasters said, this must go away, because if it's there, nobody is looking at the 3D view, and everyone is watching just the radar to see the dots. So this was one of the decisions which moved the Flashpoint in the right direction. And there were probably many other, but this one is what I remember.
Yeah, like I would say. Even before we signed with Codemasters, it was pretty solid. Yeah. So, and Codemasters signed with us when they seen preview in PC Zone, the big gaming magazine from the UK, and the images were just beautiful, I think. So I still find the images from Flashpoint really nice looking. Even today, somehow, because the colors and the team feels authentic, it's still kind of...
Do you remember that fight that we wanted to make it more a realistic look, like not so much colorful, and a lot of people other from gaming industry say it doesn't have colors, it doesn't look like a game.
Yeah, and so I think even seeing the images behind us, that's actually screenshots from the Flashpoint game from Arma Cold War Assault. So I think the test of time is really perfect. It still looks really nice. So this is all screenshots, no renders, no target. Well, actually the hind above us is rendered. Is rendered, but the bottom is screenshot.
I think it's Karel
Matějka made it, yes. One of the Czech game makers, Karel Matějka, who worked on Mrazík. So he created this mind-blowing, beautiful render of Hind, and like even today looks beautiful.
Yeah. And speaking of other people, thank you for these memories. But as we go back to the beginning, I know there are some other people who are not here, and so we would like to, listen to some of those that couldn't make it today, but also want to help celebrate. So let's play the video.
This press preview DVD was in many ways the start of my Operation Flashpoint journey. It got me the very earliest access to the game as a member of the Operation Flashpoint Network fan website, letting me and a friend tinker with the revolutionary editor well ahead of release. This culminated in my first official contribution to the game with the Sector Control multiplayer mode for the North American release. Back then, I did not yet know that these early experiences would shape my entire career and adult life, for which I am forever grateful to everybody involved with OFB, later Arma, and Bohemia Interactive. Thank you to all the players, colleagues, and friends for making this the adventure of a lifetime. Congratulations on the 25th anniversary.
Happy birthday, Flashpoint. Happy birthday, Arma. You are already 25 years old. That's more than half of my life. You've become passion of my life, and I guess it will stay that way. Thank you. I hope I can repay the favor somehow. Cheers.
I started playing Operation Flashpoint when I was 13 or 14 and never really stopped. I've been replaying the campaign at least once a year ever since. I think it was the many similarities between its virtual world and my own neighborhood. The countryside, the cars, some of the old houses, which really pulled me in and never let go. It was also the first time I created my own content for a video game. My little war scenarios with silly voice acting, which I shared with other fans online. That was ultimately how I got my job at Bohemia, and I've been there ever since. So happy anniversary, our first Arma. Thank you for all those wonderful memories. I wish you and your successors all the best for many more years to come.
I remember when Operation Flashpoint released in 2001, I was still at elementary school and I totally did not have PC to play it. So I went to play it at my friend's place, and together we took turns every time one of us died, to machine gun fire, grenades, or just being rolled over by a tank. When the evening came, we thought we must be halfway through this epic campaign. Little we knew we were only in the second mission, and 38 more followed. And for me, 25 more years of modding and eventually designing the spiritual successor, Arma. So, happy anniversary, Operation Flashpoint, and thank you for bringing me here.
Happy 25 years, Operation Flashpoint. I have so many amazing memories of playing missions, playing mods with my friends. I remember LAN gaming, that was totally a thing, and a whole room of people playing Operation Flashpoint. So here's for another 25 years.
So 25 years of Operation Flashpoint. I still do remember how it was like to see the Operation Flashpoint for the very first time. I sat there in complete amazement and I couldn't believe what I'm looking at. All the options, the scale, the ambitions, the possibilities. It was just something, wow, I've never seen anything like that before. But I had to wait when my time came, and when the time came, I met Marek. It was one of the memorable interviews when he sat in front of me. He was so self-confident with what he wanted, with the whole vision, and he used words like the game will be, and we would like to, no, we would like, there will be within the game, and the vision will be fulfilled to this. It was so inspiring, and I knew that something very special is being started there. And I was glad that I could join the company, although joining my company was a very funny story itself. But, well, yes, 25 years of Operation Flashpoint. The game is still here, although it's named differently, but it's still here. The very essence of the original Flashpoint is still present within the game, within everything what we are doing. The strong vision is still here. And I do believe that the Flashpoint will be here in another 25 years. We will see.
Welcome back. And as you can see here, we have in the flesh Peter Wieszek, also known as Jupiter.
Yeah, right.
Welcome. And you are the current senior artist at Bohemia Interactive, but you were also an artist back in the day with these guys over here. Yeah, that was correct. But what was life like back then in the studio?
It was very differently than these days. We were just a bunch of a few people, like 12, maybe 15 people within the team, and we rely heavily on each other. It wasn't everything just about the work, of course, but we really do love what we were doing, and we strongly believe in the project itself. And Marek motivates us every day with new ideas, new options, and how we can improve the game and improve ourselves. So we did simply our best to fulfill the great vision of the Flashpoint.
Yeah, and I know there was a point in which you actually left for other opportunities, and then actually came back to the studio. What was the reason for coming back to VI?
There are definitely multiple reasons, of course. I know a lot of people within the company, and they are still constantly talking about the company in very nice words, and they adore the whole atmosphere within the company. But there's something really important to me, and that's the technology behind the games. The company was always, let's say, a little bit advanced to the other companies. And when I heard that the company is slowly moving, or maybe fastly moving, from the real virtuality engine to the new one, and I had a really great experience with the original Enforce. It is back time we were working on the career command, which is my another fulfilled dreams, because I love to play the game since 90s, from ZX Spectrum through Amiga, then on PC. And I knew what the team is capable of. They simply were able to turn this engine from the interior one to the exterior one that could cover all the possibilities that the career command needs. And when I saw some article like in 2021-22 regarding that this engine is going to be one of the platform in the company, and it's called Enfusion, and it uses both of the good sides of the real virtuality and Enforce. I was really excited about it. And when I saw a release of the Enforce, that definitely proved that I was right, and the engine is something exceptional. And because I know that some additional project or new project are being built on a much improved version of this engine, and this engine is constantly being improved and features added in, and I do believe that the team is capable of doing absolutely incredible thing. I just would like to be at the right time, at the right place.
Yeah, and you're now back and enjoying it, I'm sure. But
definitely,
there's one unique fact that a lot of people don't know is that you're actually the face of David Armstrong in the original game of Cold War Assaults. How did that happen? How did you become the face of the main protagonists?
The short answer is I don't really know. And a slightly longer one is that one day I do believe that Mark was the person. He simply summoned behind my back at my table and asked me a really weird question. Would you mind if you shave off your beard? I was like, excuse me? And he said, soldiers in army are not supposed to have a beard like you have. Am I joining the army or what? No, actually, we are looking for a character in a game, and we think that you might fit in. I was absolutely excited. Where can I sign it? I can do anything to be in a game. And this is a really fun fact that this picture of mine, and the character in a game and the picture on the webpage is the only picture of me in a whole of life without the beard.
Okay.
But this sacrifice is definitely worthy of
we see you've grown it back since. That's good. But like, how does that feel? Like, how did that feel? Did people recognize you or be like, oh, you're the
sadly, not really.
No, okay.
Not really.
All right. Well, I thank you again for joining us, obviously. But it would be an honor to have the David Armstrong play some as Armstrong here today. If you want to join us in for
I would love to.
Yeah,
that's a great idea.
And of course, we have the classic from 2003. Pulled this out of the out of the shop a little bit to a game or a computer that was actually in the studios from back then, and we're gonna play some of the original game with you here. So if you want to, I'll boot it up. It is a little loud. Sure. It does have that same chime and rhythm kind of spools up, but yeah, thank you again for joining us, and thank you
for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. For these guys though, I will says that you can hear it whine away. Yeah, so as he's gonna boot up here, one of the first things I have to ask you is obviously the game, and we talked a little bit about scale, and Petra also talked about the scale of the game. Was that one of the things you always envisioned was just how massive and expansive this could be, or was it a technical issue or like a big hindrance at first?
I think the scale grew out of some kind of, I don't know, my passion or perversion or whatever, because any game I touch grows in scale and becomes an open world game, whatever it is. So when I was at the university, my thesis was on open world rendering. So that was a kind of what was behind the technology of the Flashpoint. So you could, it's not exactly true, but you could say that we had a vision that we wanted to render an open world, and we had the world, and we didn't know what to do with it. So we tried to make some game on that world. So that's how Flashpoint started.
Yeah, and probably continued from Gravon. So Gravon already had open world with dynamic gameplay. So I think after Rio Grande, this felt tried to really be better than Gravon and not worse in terms of openness of the game. So some of the source code still carried from Gravon. So I believe even some of the tools names like Objective and Visitor were actually originally tools for Falcon 030 Atari that Gravon was native to.
Mm-hmm. And actually, Petro here is playing a game, or one of the scenarios in Operation Flashpoint, or now Cold War Assault, that is well known by many because it was the first part of the demo, the mission Ambush, that everyone got to play when they've tried it out. And a lot of people have always talked about they got the CD in the mail that they tried this game out and refer back to. Can you talk a little bit about where did that mission come from and why was that one chosen for the demo?
Like, we chose it probably because we just liked it, I think. So it's very hard to say. We made so many missions for Operation Flashpoint or Arma Cold War Assault now. So this one felt okay, and I think we chose Malden because this was a bit more lightweight than Everon in performance terms. So combination of reasons, and just kind of liked the feel of it.
It was kind of representative of what the game is. Because
it was not so difficult, it was okay. And what was really mind-blowing is that we already were building the game to be modding friendly with editor and everything, but we did not expect that already the demo will be heavily modded. So it was a good sign because the demo was super popular and the modability was in the technology itself. We just did not give any tools, but it was relatively straightforward to unlock the full potential of the mission. So already before the launch, this demo mission was modified heavily by the community.
Did you expect it to be that quick, or did you?
No, we expected this will be after the release of the game with the editor.
Yeah.
But the community was just so creative and so awesome since the day the demo was released. And I think that's when we thought it may not end up bad, because the demo was installed by 1 million people over a week. At least that's what the publisher said. So we believed them. So that was a big number, 1 million.
And I think it was also the point where the publisher started to take the game seriously.
Yeah, it was probably the point where Operation Flashpoint became a thing that people really saw, wow, there's something cooking.
And I guess going from the demo to the actual launch of the game, or to getting in the full game in people's hands, what did it feel like leading up to the launch or getting it out to the? Was it stressful, or did everything go smoothly every time?
Now we can share the perspectives. So who starts?
I remember when I returned on the highway, because before release, Ondřej decided he will go France. And with his wife, and we with Marek stay longer night at office and found that nothing works. I think it was some merging of textures. It was totally broken.
The big thing that was happening is because NVIDIA GeForce has written on the computer the way it's meant to be played. So NVIDIA GeForce was becoming a thing, and Direct 3D was super important. And Ondřej created remotely a new way to prepare data for Direct 3D, but required a different folder of data, different prepacking, and some of this prepacker was kind of failing. So it got different symptoms, but one of them was that seagulls were not flying. And seagulls were featured in the campaign cutscenes. So some of the cutscenes looked really bad because the camera was supposed to follow the seagull flying, but it was just idling. So yeah, luckily the dial-up was super reliable through modem.
Because I think we at the beginning we did it on the 3DFX, and after that we moved to the different type of graphic cards, and this type of cards needed to have merged textures together, because when you have separate textures,
the overhead without the texture atlas was super heavy on GeForce, and it was basically, we were kind of lucky. 3DFX was really good card, dominant on the market, and we run natively on 3DFX. But before we released the game, GeForce was really taking industry like a storm. So basically, in 1 year, NVIDIA bought 3DFX, and GeForce just dominated the market back then. And we were lucky, we so made it thanks to Ondřej, who ported it to GeForce proper. and we launched on GeForce, but the
Yeah,
difficulty was he was in France, connected over dial-up.
This was very stressful because, let you see, the life moves on and the game took very long and long and long, and my wife couldn't wait any longer moving to France because she had some obligations there, so I moved with her and then worked from dial-up, and I think this was evening before, because back then there was a kind of kind of deadline which was real. It was the day when the Goldmaster is shipped to the factory. This is not done now. Now you publish today and you publish tomorrow a new version and then again.
Yeah.
But Goldmaster was something really important. So if I remember it correctly, so it was an evening before the Goldmaster was going to be shipped to the factory that I was finishing the implementation just for this GeForce technology. There were some kind of strange issues. I was communicating with NVIDIA support to get this solved, but back then the communication was hard. The internet was there was some internet, but it's not what you know as internet today. So everything was more slow and difficult. So yeah, this was really stressful, and the publisher was angry at us because they told that nobody is doing changes the day before release, which they were probably correct, but that's what we, I guess, always did.
Yeah. The tool was the text merge, I think. The name was the text merge. And
yes.
text merge fuck up everything.
So of all three of you, which would you say is the most I guess the four of you, which was the most nervous about the launch at the end of the day? Yes, everyone. Okay.
Everyone just nervous.
Yeah.
Do you remember as we set some version to Germany and we was without electricity in Mishek? And we ran aggregate at the balcony.
Well, it was later. There was some consequent game. It was Arma 1. That was Arma 1. But I think it was super difficult. Everyone on the team worked really long hours, and we put everything to make the game successful. And we really worked so hard. So kind of having it to the publisher felt relaxing, but after a week of sleepless week, I finally went home and slept. But then my mobile phone Nokia started ringing, and I took it half sleeping, and they told me, the Codemasters, the publisher, come on, like the cutscene in mission 17 is just black, and since then the whole game is black. You cannot complete the campaign. So I drove back to the office, and somehow I managed to fix this cutscene because it was just black out in the cutscene. It was not luckily a super heavy technical thing. It was just in the cutscene. It left out black, full black screen, which kind of was done in a way it basically made the whole game black.
I think it was happen every time. If you remember when we sent version to some German magazine, and after save, all AI was disabled.
Yeah, like games development can be surprising. So, but I think at the end we made it through.
Yeah.
So,
and as Andra mentioned, from like back then to today you could just put out a new hotfix or something in a moment's notice. But obviously, it was probably a little bit more technically challenging back then.
Yeah, like that's important to notice is that when we released Operation Flashpoint, there was very bare-bone internet. It was only dial-up at homes, and in the company we did have some broadband, but the speed was very, very low. And basically, internet was much more limited than nowadays. So, like, it's incomparable.
So shipping the game to the factory meant someone taking the physical, it was CD back then, I think.
CD-ROM, yes.
CD-ROM. So taking the CD-ROM and driving in by car to the factory, and so that was.
Yeah. And then because it was in the shops, you need to be in the time because they need to make space for it.
Yeah, so there was no failing.
And I guess once the game was out, after all these issues, of course, were solved and no problems ever came back up. There's no bugs ever anymore. But what was the reaction like from the players and the press after? Were you surprised by the reaction that you got, or was it what you expected given everything?
Well, like I think we were surprised, and it's still probably our most recognized game by the press. So since Operation Flashpoint, the media and press in general kind of never really took our games, but back then we were Game of the Year in many publications for the first and I believe for the last time, in fact. So yeah, we were surprised because not all the time our games were for everybody, and especially the journalists, because it's games where our players get in for thousands of hours to really fully appreciate. And you cannot reasonably expect a reviewer to pour in thousands of hours of one game. That would not work like this. So it was very different. So I think we were really shocked by the success.
We were surprised, and it was great satisfaction because before the release we were told so many times that the game is boring, that nobody will want to play a realistic game, that the decision that one bullet can kill you is absolutely impossible, nobody will want to play this, or traveling in car, impossible, it takes too long, it's boring,
mixing genres. That the problem is that we have shooting, we had the driving. It was not before, I think.
Yeah, even commanding, so it was a multi-genre game, and like it's definitely a game that required people to be more serious about playing. So it's probably even more surprising and shocking that at the end real soldiers chose it as their training tool, which considering we were never really proper military geeks. I'm not talking about the real background. So it's surprising.
That switching between first and third person view was not typical in that time. That most of game was only from one, you should be third person or first person, but not be able to switch. So it was another thing.
Yeah, and even the way how we simulated the infantry was much more inspired by flight sims. So, for example, we introduced the free look while you move, and these features that were more really normal for flight simulator rather than infantry first-person game.
There are things you probably won't notice anymore, but before us, every fighting game had visible arms, like you had arms and gun. So we were sure we want to show arms like you really see them. You don't see your arms when you aim at. So you see just hands and gun. And so
like the whole concept was that we tried to be authentic. So our first-person view was not a fake view, and one of the problems it kind of caused is that the bullet goes through a bit off. So conventional shooters of that period, they fired bullets in the middle of the screen, literally like through it. But in our game, it goes from the muzzle. And the muzzle is a bit off.
You can see it now, Peter is showing.
Yeah, Peter is shooting.
And I guess you mentioned a little bit like how this was almost like a multi-genre kind of thing. But also one question always comes up is why the Cold War? Why was it set in this theme and not some other setting?
Well, like in short, I would say 1980s rock. So we stick with it till now. So
it was our childhood and it was our nightmares. I remember because at school we were told how the imperialistic West is going to nuke us, and we were taught how we should handle when the nuke will be. So I as a child had nightmares about nuke mushrooms and things like that. So it's a kind of the game is maybe a kind of therapy.
Yeah,
also.
I think so. So you can even when you play the story of Cold War crisis, you can get it all because it's a reflection of our childhood. We grew up behind the Iron Curtain, and we were basically educated to get ready for the nuclear war. So one of my vivid dreams since my childhood was dreaming as I'm outside playing in front of the school, and then don't ask me why, but Americans used space shuttles to drop the bombs, but they flew very close by. So it was like 5 space shuttles flying 200 meters above us and dropping the nukes to our playground. So this formed us for sure. So the Cold War was very formative for us as childhood. We grew up behind one side, and now this was kind of our reflection. And yeah, as Andrei said, therapy.
Yeah, and it kind of reflects, obviously, we're talking a little bit about modern Arma Reforger. We've returned to that setting of the Cold War. But, yeah, I think, is looking back, is there anything you miss most about that time of development or the people, or what really stands out in your memory from that time of the development that you kind of miss?
I think the great was that when the team was small, everybody was involved in the game design and all the decision and thinking of how it worked. And I think we was quite lucky because there was very clever people in the team. So it was quite not just to make the game, but discuss a lot of other things just together because we was lucky. Yeah. I like that times, a lot.
Like we were definitely younger, and I think was pretty good. We were naive, so we did not know it's not possible. So if we were this age, we already knew there was no way making this real. So we were so naive, and also it was not necessarily healthy. We dedicated ourselves so much to the game, so really was our passion, and we were so much. You could call it obsessed. So we were obsessed to a level by the game, and hopefully it's showing that we pour our hearts into it. So I really like watching it even now, and all the memories, and still looks nice, which to me is the best when I can see the game is nice. So by the way, I'm not sure we will have time to mention we have some new things for today.
Just to add, as Honza remembers it, that's exactly the team was excellent. As I told, we had some fights about the game, but it was because we all loved the game and we knew it all the time. So that was really great, and I still think that most of the decisions we made them in spite of everyone telling us that this is bad. I think I am proud that we made them, and the game is this way.
And I know Petr down there is engaged in combat, but I have to ask himself, what do you miss from that time of all
I'm so thrilled out of the game. I need to focus. I can die every minute.
Yeah. But
I'm sorry, what was the question again?
Sorry, say that again?
What was the question again? I'm sorry.
So what do you miss from that back in that time? Of all the things from was it the people? Was it the certain developments?
I would say the atmosphere, because we were so young, and I would say maybe so naive. We didn't know that what we are doing is almost impossible because we didn't know it. We just did it.
That's fair. Well, I only have one last question. There's one other scenario that Petr hasn't played yet, but it's kind of probably close to your heart, Marek, of Steal the Jeep, the one that everyone even talks about this day and age as well. It's a straightforward mission. If you don't know, it's literally just go in and take the Jeep and get out of town. Where was that idea from? Where did that come from?
Well, it was one of the first missions ever made for the game. So it was when we even started building the tools for making missions. So kind of was the smallest possible mission that was not fully boring. So it was kind of very small, very limited. And we tried to keep the open world with the little tools at our disposal. So it was one of the very first missions made ever for the game that made it towards the release. So probably, that's why it's kind of sticks so much with us. Yeah. And back then, for some of the people, it was even difficult to understand. We pointed a waypoint, steal the car, find the documents, but the waypoint was not exactly where the documents were. So conventional game was go there, there's the documents where the waypoint is, and then go back. But basically, it was about searching the area. So the game was designed originally without waypoints more. So the waypoints were added at the request of publisher, as well as the save game was added at the request of the publisher to make it a bit more casual. Yeah. So probably was the right choice. We back then were very harsh. We said no save games, no waypoints, never. Do you have waypoints in the real world?
Yeah. do you remember there was at the beginning there was quite general AI that make missions for you, and we was survive or die. There was nothing else.
Yeah.
They said it. Yes, this is exactly look like real war, but nobody will play it.
Yeah, and authenticity of games, like in the Arma series, has continued on even today with trying to be as realistic as possible in terms of not only the technical aspects, but that idea of you can get shot, you can die, and I know a lot of people talk about the old game about how Petter is doing a really good job of staying alive, but how easy it is to just.
I already died twice.
Yeah,
But the mission generator, I think it had some I don't know, resurrection, how to call it. It was a hugely popular multiplayer mode for the game, which was generating missions for the players. But it was many years ago and much more advanced than what we get. But it was exactly the spirit, the spirit of the original. But yeah. How was it called? Does anyone remember? Oh.
That's all right. Well, Petter, I see you die. I don't want to put you through any more suffering over there. But
it's not suffering. I have to say, it's actually good after all these years.
Yeah. He just wants to stick with it. But no, yeah. Thank you for playing over there. But I just want to just shift us a little bit back to just like the impact and kind of thinking about why do you think the game has really stayed with people on all these years? Like people still talk about it, still think back to those memories. Why do you think it's been so impactful? This is a question also for Petter.
No, I would say because the game is so open to the players. It has great modability, and it was Marek and Ondra pushing from the very beginning that it must be modded by the community, not just because we would like to let them, but we won't be able to do simply everything. And because we would like to let the people use their own stories and make their own stories, give them the tools, and they can make simply anything we don't have time for.
And that still, again, holds true to the games that we have today in the Arma series.
Yeah, I think what was really important was that the game was different. So what everyone told us was do another game just like everyone else, and we made something which was different.
Yeah, so hopefully the test of time shows it is unique, it is distinct, so and somehow it made the right balance of the thing. So the visuals, the story, the simulation, it all kind of clicked together at the end. So I think, yeah, it's still awesome gem. So I really hope it will last. So we do things to make sure this gem we made once will last in new forms.
And it's a kind of obviously Operation Flashpoint has inspired other games and other developers who grew up on this to become game devs themselves, have gone on and done other concepts similar in that regard. But does it feel surreal that that this game has kind of prompted a new generation of gamers or game devs in some way?
I don't know, because I'm quite a long time out of game industry, but hopefully yes. I think because a lot of people invest so much time into game, not just playing, but modding and make new models and make new missions and so on, that they still remember it and love it, and that the passion for it make from them new developers maybe. But yeah, that's what I think.
And you also mentioned it a little bit that even now today we have new things, because even as of today we have released a remastered demo of Cold War Assault. We released this and it is new playable for modern resolutions and things like that. But can you tell us any more about what this is about?
Yeah, like the demo itself is not the real big thing. So the big thing is that as of today, we released the Operation Flashpoint source code as GPL. So for the good of the entire community, anyone now can learn and take it and port it to all kind of platforms. So the demo is the first thing based on this new upgraded source version. But the beauty is it's available on GitHub for anybody to toy with, to learn how this was made, how this was even possible with the tools. And yeah, the demo is out on Steam now, so you can just grab it, see the game in a bit updated tech, but the update of the tech was not just for updating it just because of updating it. It was updated to be fully compatible with modern hardware, with all the platforms. So I'm really keen to see what the creative community will make out of the Operation Flashpoint source code.
Yeah.
Now Arma Cold War Assault source codes, because it's available and they can play and they can toy, and there's a lot that can be done with it, and a lot I believe people can learn from it. So this was made from 1996 to 2001, but now it's kind of resurrected. And I hope this resurrection will allow it to live for another 25 years or more.
Is it? Would this be something? Yeah. Now that it's open source, is this only useful for like existing developers, or who else might be this useful for?
Well, like, first of all, I believe this is the right way to preserve this piece of gaming history. So it's about preservation of the game. So whatever hardware is in the future, people will be still able to build it, update it themselves. Maybe one day Bohemia Interactive is no more. Maybe one day Windows are no more. Microsoft for sure will stay, but you never know. So you could see how quickly things change. And there are so many new beautiful platforms nowadays, and the game was super optimized for what it is. When we launched, the game ran 15 frames per second maybe. So, but you have to understand, back then the CPUs got 200 megahertz, not 200 gigahertz.
Yeah. And so can people just take this open sourceness and re-release the game and sell it or anything like that, or what?
Well, with a catch, so they don't get the brand, as we did not get the brand Operation Flashpoint. We don't give them the brand Arma.
Yeah.
So it's GPL. It's very standard way how do you release the game. So we got inspired by Doom. Doom was open sourced, I believe, 10 or maybe even more years ago. So we think this was the right way for Doom, and we try to follow the lead of Doom.
Yeah.
ID Soft. So now something similar is possible. So there's the little catch: you need to get the data. So we released a lot of data already. There are the tools, and we released the demo pack of the data to be able for anyone to freely download and use, or otherwise then can buy the full game and still use them. So it's kind of pretty much as was with the Doom.
Yeah.
So they can build it, they can run it on hopefully all kind of hardware from digital watches to dishwashing machines, whatever, I don't know, fridges, cars,
Tamagotchis,
infotainment, for sure phones.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's see what people can get into with this release.
Yeah, and they can really see what's under the hood from the original code.
I think there were pretty cool things. So somehow I read a lot of people complaining about the AI, for example, but I really admire the AI in Operation Flashpoint that was mostly made by Jirka. That's not here, but it was super advanced. So the AI did a lot. Like, I think it was mind-blowing to be honest. So still, till today, I'm amazed how much the AI could do. So flying helicopters, driving vehicles, commanding, listening to commands. So that was, in my opinion, pure genius of Ondra and Jirka that built this system in this limited hardware.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said before, with even today with modding and the modding community, and what's interesting, we'll see what people can do with that kind of source code, and like you said, put it in other places. But I think our question for all of you is just as a little last look back. What do you think you're the most proud of from the legacy of Operation Flashpoint, Arma Cold War Assault? What is the thing you remember? You think you'll be most proud of looking down the line on this game?
From me, it's hard to say one thing, because I think we try a lot of new things. That was in that time very new. It was the forest, the open world, the possibility to see your body and legs from first person. There was a lot realistic sky, realistic lights. There was a lot of things that we did, and was in time that everything was in very local landscape, and everything was pre-baked, and we always had a discussion that these games look a little bit better because we did simulation, but I think we was right. It's showing now that we was right. But so I'm very proud on whole way we choose, because there was a lot of things that we did very differently in that time, and it was not easy to show it to people and say this is the right way how to do it. So Yeah.
Yeah, I am proud of that we were able to create a game which was a kind of closer to art than most of the games which were released back then, because I think at that time the only thing which was expected from game was fun. And we were told a lot of times that our game is not fun enough, and I am proud of that, because it was all those design decisions like one bullet can kill you. I am proud that we made a war game which could make you scared, because dying is not nice. Most games back then showed dying and killing as something which is pure fun, and I'm proud that we were able to create a game which shows you other emotions. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, it was really not just a game on the surface, but it was also a simulation under the surface. So this combination of game with simulation backbone, I think we successfully pulled it through, and just pulling it through was a big achievement. And yeah, sticking with the vision through the finish line, that was the big thing, because always we were under pressure to change the vision. So yeah, so we're very proud.
Yeah. And Peter, looks like Armstrong's in good hands down there.
Thank you. I just would like to add that I don't know if it's exactly legacy, but I still feel that the main spirit and the main vision, it's still within the game from the company. In every next game, the same vision, the same possibilities, the types of options, it's still in a game, and it just began with the Flashpoint. It never ended.
Yeah. And of course, after all these years, it's not just the people here at Bohemia that remember so fondly of these times. There's also you guys, the community. So now we'd just like to take a moment to hear from some of you out there that would like to say some words.
Operace Flashpoint je hra, která mě doslova provází celým životem už od dětství. Jako malej, tak jsem sledoval mýho bratrance a tátu, jak tu hru hrajou, a když jsem měl o něco později možnost si tu hru zahrát, věděl jsem, že je to láska na celý život. Ať už ta samotná operace Flashpoint, nebo Datadisk Resistance, tak i pozdější Arma díly. Opravdu i po 25 letech se k té hře stále vracím a musím říct, že do dneška mi to přináší spoustu hodin zábavy, ale i nových situací, které se mi za celou tu dobu nestaly. Ta hra opravdu předběhla svou dobu a jsem strašně rád, že i vlastně Arma Reforger vychází z té operace Flashpoint minimálně tou dobou a zasazením. Ano, operace Flashpoint je něco, co bych se nebál označit za český herní klenot, a přeju Bohemce, ať se i další díly povedou takhle stejně.
Hi, I'm Stag, and believe it or not, I had to borrow a graphics card from a friend of mine just to play Operation Flashpoint's demo. After buying the game, I played it until I reached Montignac. And after Montignac, oh boy, I wasn't ready for what was about to happen. I knew that the game wasn't hand-holding me, but this was on a whole new level. The After Montignac mission is what got me hooked on Arma for the next 25 years. Thank you for that, and happy birthday.
Happy anniversary to Operation Flashpoint, or Arma Cold War Assault, as we know. This game will always be my main inspiration when making Cold War artworks in Arma 3, and in the future, Arma 4. Thank you very much.
You know, we had AI 25 years ago, although people wouldn't believe it. It couldn't draw images. But it could draw blood.
Hello everybody, I'm Jerry Hopper. Who would have thought 25 years later and I'm still serving content for this great game. Happy birthday, Operation Flashpoint. Thanks.
Almost a quarter century ago, I saw an interesting looking game at a store. I had bought it right away because I wanted to first know if it was an open world sandbox that I could create in. Thanks to community guys showing how, I went back to the store confident that I could create in this open world. I still have my copies today. What started as just a game has had a lasting impact on thousands of people and their families on at least 6 of the 7 continents. This seagull effect has launched multiple industries on that shared desire to create and still continues to be regarded as a foundational benchmark. This game has brought together a community that for decades has been a living example of peaceful and friendly international relations that has encouraged economic collaboration. Happy birthday.
25 years is a long time, but I still recall the vibe when I joined Bohemia Interactive at the time as a junior programmer. I recall how every decision we made was questioned. Was it generic enough? Were we thinking big enough? There was not any clear path. Everyone was an architect. Shortcuts were often tempting, but I'm happy to say that we were encouraged not to take them, even though it would mean a longer way. It was a pretty bold and questionable bet on the future at the time, especially in the volatile gaming industry. Looking back, many things have changed over the years. A lot of the code was updated, a lot of the code was replaced. But I still see the same productive vibe around, the desire to build an ultimate solution. Happy birthday.
Hello Marek, hello Andre, hello Operation Flashpoint. This is Dennis Schwartz, Gameplay Director for Hunt Showdown at Crytek. Congratulations to your 25-year anniversary. I still remember when I first booted up the demo version back in 2001 and was blown away. 3 times actually. First by the graphics, realism and scale of the world, followed by the T-72 tank coming up the road. But most importantly, by the genius of this just forming community you built around the game. For me, as an aspiring game dev back then, seeing all of these amazing missions and mods spring up everywhere in such a short time was truly eye-opening. Over the years, the platform you provided with Operation Flashpoint and later Arma has been the source of revolutionary and often genre-defining game design experiments. From King of the Hill, Capture the Island to Survival and Battle Royale, I'm proud to say it has in no small way also influenced our very own Hunt Showdown. The games industry would be a much poorer place without Operation Flashpoint. Whatever you're cooking up next, I'm ready for it. Thank you.
Welcome back. Now, obviously, this is a time for you guys to ask some questions as we get into our community Q&A. We'll still be collecting some questions here, so if you want to say anything, throw them out there. But one question I know that people have probably wanted to ask as well is what you guys have been up to since this time. How, Marek, we will get to you. We already know about your stuff. But Jan, you actually are a CEO at this time. And
so, in fact, I'm doing still the same thing. So trying to advance in 3D technology. And I a little bit return back because now I'm working on XR streaming, so streaming to the XR glasses, optical see-through. And yes, we are now streaming from VBS. So, so now you can take the HoloLens, MetaLens AR glasses and see very advanced Flashpoint as in Avatar in 3D. So yeah, that's one thing. And another thing that I play with is AI now. So it's very similar what I did with the trees, because I made first generation of the tree generator to Arma. So now I play with AI agents and trying to make them live same way as I tried before many years with the tree. So I'm you can escape your soul. You're still going same way.
Okay, and we actually have a video of you. Yeah. Your I don't know if you can explain a little bit what we're looking at. So obviously the VR aspect.
That's it. So this is AR, and these guys have HoloLens and see the image from VBS as in Avatar, but in Avatar you don't need to have glasses. Unfortunately, we need to have glasses on our eyes, but it's worked this way. So I believe that we are on way how to move finally 3D graphics into the space, not with VR, because VR is very limited cases, but in optical see-through AR. So yeah, so this is what we are doing in my new company, and the Marek is also involved in this. And at home I play with trying to make artificial life
Yeah, and I know the question I'm going to stop from the chat here is potential for Arma in the future, maybe, but no.
I think it depends on the price of the glasses.
Yeah.
So these glasses is still quite expensive. When there will be cheap glasses that you will be able to buy home, why not? It will work. The technology is there. It's just a question of price.
That's awesome. And Andre, I know you have also are still an indie dev yourself, working on projects, and we have a video of yours of your one of your latest projects.
So same as Honza, I can say that I am still doing the same thing as again. So I am still building open world game, but this time the open world game is not a war game; it's a fairy tale game. So here is the main antagonist, the bad guy from my game. This model was made by Flyman, the programmer of the Flashpoint. So thank you, Vladimir, for this. Really. So if anyone, I prepared a small present and surprise for today, which is a small web game you can play. It starts with Arma, and it brings you into the world of what is now called Bohemia. If anyone wants to try it, it should be live now, so you can point your brochures at arma.orbisfabula.com. I will place a link later in the comments. And now hopefully you should be able to see a short video.
Let's play the video.
Position Echo Echo 6-5. We'll have visual contact in a few seconds. Out.
12 o'clock. Enemy. Unknown. Half a click.
Papa Bear, this is Alpha. Come in, over. Papa Bear, come in. Papa Bear, this is Alpha. Damn this radio. Why don't they hear me?
Yeah, so that's a little.
That's me chasing still the open world dream, only this time a bit different setting. So if anyone is interested, search for Bohemia or head to the link in the comments.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it looks very, very interesting. And as I said, Marek, we already kind of know what you're working on, but obviously we have, like I said, the remastered coming out, and anything else.
For me, this remaster of Operation Flashpoint is a big thing, because I'm really keen to see how the original source codes can be resurrected for all kind of forms and factors. So I'm super keen on this, and also probably whoever played Arma Reforger, they can see we at Bohemia are trying to get Operation Flashpoint vibes back. So you already have Everon, you already have Kolguyev in the Enfusion tech, so anybody is invited to try in Arma Reforger. And of course, now there's the big thing. So we at Bohemia really want to deliver Arma 4 as the best game ever. And in a way, a game that will be in some forms more inviting than the previous ones. So more like Operation Flashpoint. So hopefully more people will be able to join this world and get immersed into it.
Yeah.
Just feeling like I'm in a country, not just in a game, like fictional country, and trying to really role play in the depth. So yeah, that's where we are up to. Bohemia is now a big corporation, a big company. So I would say maybe it's harder now than it was with Operation Flashpoint, but that's our goal to make it one more time.
But I would say the culture hasn't changed that much from back then to now in terms of some of the in-office environments. It's all
so my role is to be the old man. So please go play old man in Arma 3 to understand who I am. Yeah, like I was surprised and shocked to figure out I'm one of the oldest people in the company by age. So that's really shocking to me because I feel like teenager still. So I know, but I'm one of the oldest, so I keep trying us to remain what we were back then when we were much younger with Operation Flashpoint. So yeah, that's our dream. Curiosity community for the win. So happy birthday, and especially big thanks to everybody who made this possible. It was so many people, from Andre, Honza, and hundreds other people in the company. So you all deserve big applause from the community, and of course the community itself, because the way how they understood what we made, just wow, really. Even later with Daisy, like nobody believed there will be user base on consoles, like PlayStation fan base. Wow, it's one of the best ones. So unbelievable, really. So I'm still like watching in AVE how this all was possible. This is my childhood dream, now real. So wow. So thank you.
And speaking of the community, obviously we have a few questions that came in while we were chatting here. The one that I think is going to be great for you guys is why did you make the game so hard? In terms of, like I said, Petra did a great job of not dying as much, but you know, why was it so difficult? As we talked a little bit about the idea that you can get shot once and you're done, but
war is not nice.
Yeah, and I would say they are not that hard. You have to be just a bit more dedicated.
I think we just wanted to make it fair for both sides always. And that's it. That's the result.
Yeah, it was fair. So one player in after Montignac against the whole Soviet army was pretty fair. But I was designing that mission, so don't blame the designer.
And yeah, I mean, like I said, some of that still carries over to the Arma Reforger and things like that, where it's the same idea of getting shot. But the next one of the next questions we had is, what is your favorite Operation Flashpoint terrain or Arma terrain that you experienced or played with? I know there was quite a few.
Maybe I mostly like the Chernarus. It was not Flashpoint, but from the
Arma series.
All Arma, I really like the Chernarus and the Autumn Vibe. It was, I think, my favorite. Favorite landscape. Yeah. Because it looks so nice and misty, and that's.
And it's in fact our homeland, so one feels home when traveling through Chernarus.
It was quite nice when we did this landscape. It was same time in the nature that we make the photos and everything. So always when you want to do something, you just go out from the office and look. It was quite nice work to do this way. So yeah.
Yeah, for me, Chernarus probably as well. But I liked Everon. I always liked those green landscapes which look like the Czech nature, because I love this country around us, which is not very wild. It's a kind of Baroque garden, but that's what we have.
Yeah, I also really liked Everon. So Everon now in Arma Reforger is still beautiful and even more beautiful. So I think Everon is like Bohemia, which is the name of our homeland, but by sea. So we don't have a coast. We are not an island. So it's like little piece of Bohemia that is surrounded by the sea, and I love both sea and Bohemia. So together, this is perfect combination. So yeah, Everon all the way.
Especially with the new engine and Reforger, it just I catch myself walking and just enjoying the views of Everon, especially. But another question is, what single-player level of the original game took developers the longest, or was the most technically complex of everything? I know there's probably a mini.
I'm afraid that we are unable to remember that. There were too many missions. It was probably some complex. Some missions when the campaign was getting to the ending was very complex with some quite heavy scripting needed for some rocket launches and things like that. But many missions were difficult because they were open, and there were so many ways to play them and so many ways to break them. And we tried to make them as much as unbreakable as was possible, but that was really hard.
I think the last mission where you got to capture Guba. That was the most difficult because it was real open world on the entire Kolguyev, and the way how it was designed, you can check the mission files. We were not super skilled, but we tried to do the best with the engine and with our limited skill set. So it was the closest to open world we could get in those good old days.
And one that seems interesting, considering you guys are off doing other things, they said if there was no OFP or Bohemia Interactive or any of that, what do you think you would have been doing instead at this point? Would you still? I know it's 25 years.
I don't know. I always loved 3D graphics and technology around. So I think I will still be somewhere around this, but it's hard to say. I have sometimes feelings that anything I do, I will always end it in the same place. So maybe there is no chance to do anything else.
Yeah, I think if there was no Flashpoint and no Bohemia Interactive, we would just create different game and different company. But that's all the difference. Somehow we can't escape it.
Yeah.
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 It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Like, I don't know, probably if we could not pull it through, I probably could end up a bit sad. This was the dream I was following since the childhood. So so hard to imagine really for me. So yeah, it's what it is, and it's good the way it is.
And not to throw it back to you, Marek, but when someone did ask Mel, just to shout out to him, a long time ambassador of the franchise of Arma, but he asked, how is you looking at the interaction between the community back then, 25 years to now? How does it compare in terms of back then to now? Is it the same? Is it different?
You can't really compare it because internet was very young, so there were no social media, for example. Yeah. So the social media were the forums. So I think the heart of the community was on the forums, and it started even before the game was out. So we got very small but very dedicated group of people, maybe 100 users on the forums, and was super close relationship with each of them. So some of them are still around perhaps, but most of them grown-ups probably went to different areas. But yeah, it was super different and very, very small, very intimate.
Yeah, like I said, now we have a new generation of the people who grew up on this now, either developing or just still playing the same games, or and in that regard. But and then we had, I think we had to end on the perfect one, which is, how is Adita doing? How is that T-72?
He's doing fine, but she's doing fine, but she's also old. So with the age comes also some of the parts are not functioning anymore as they used to function. So the same for Edita as for me.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you again. I think that's all we have time for questions. But any closing statements you guys want to make in terms of out to the community and out to everyone who's played this game for the last 25 years off and on, probably now. But
I'm just thinking that if anybody will ask me before 25 years that I could imagine this, I will say no. It's unbelievable. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm glad that I could be part of this adventure, and I'm glad that games are now kind of accepted as a part of the culture. So thank you for everyone who was riding this ride with me, and hopefully the ride doesn't end yet, and there are more things to come.
Wow, thank you all, and thanks Andre, Honza, and everybody from the community. It was the best thing to happen, was this magnificent community. So the level of creativity and dedication, I know it's often hard with us as well, but we try still to deliver the best Arma we can, and we will keep pushing for it for the years to come. So thank you for being with us for so long, and looking forward to some more.
Yes, definitely more on the horizon for sure. And with that, I think it's about time for us to wrap things up. Again, I want to say a huge thank you for all of you guys for being here today and joining us as we have shared some stories. It's been amazing to hear these memories firsthand and to celebrate 25 years of Operation Flashpoint with you. And additionally, thank you as well to everyone watching, asking those questions, sharing your memories, and continuing to be part of the community, because after all these years, you are what we do this for. And of course, if today has been making me feel nostalgic, it's a perfect time to jump back in. As we talked about, Arma Cold War Assault has been remastered as a demo. You can jump in or buy the game. It is on sale as we have the full release coming soon, but also the publisher sale on Steam. So you can now pick it up and experience the game from where it all started. And lastly, if you want an awesome t-shirt like the one I'm wearing, you can head to the BI store right now and pick yourself one up right now. But again, thank you, everybody. That's all we have time for today. I'm Nillers, and as always, we will see you on the battlefields. Good night, everybody.